Tide Talk Web is back, baby! Sorry for the delay. I'm going to be putting out videos the next few days to catch back up. Here's some stories that I thought were pretty cool. There was one about Alabama running pick plays, kind of like the 2-yard catch from Hunter Renfrow in the national championship game by Clemson. The reason this story is talking about it is Brian Daboll, and he was the coach at New England. They use pick plays a lot, and then so it was kind of neat. The play basically, if you remember right, Renfrow ran unguarded in the flat after Alabama's quarterback Marlon Humphrey had been obstructed by Artavius Scott, and then was basically knocked out. And it was a legal play, but it counted, and they beat us, and good on them. But Saban was asked about it. He said it's a situation we didn't play very well, we didn't coach very well. The way you pass off and the different things you get close to the goal line is a little bit different. When things don't work, you always wish they did them a little bit differently or coached a little bit differently in the game. The play's called the Orange Crush. Clemson used against us. They call it mildly a rub route. Its concept is conjectured to defeat your opponent in like really tight coverage to get coverage or separation for the receivers. So it was pretty cool. Like I said, it sucks, and it is an illegal play, and they should have been flagged for it, but no use crying over spilt milk. But basically, the story went on to say that the New England Patriots, the two teams that were really associated with New England Patriots under Daboll, and then Peyton Manning with the Broncos, those two teams used it all the time. And also, those two offenses were masterminded by Josh McDaniels and Adam Gase for those two teams. So it was very interesting to see, and I'm sure we will use a few of those. And they asked the pick plays. They had asked a receiver for Alabama about it, and he basically said, "Well, yeah, we got a few variations of it." And they also talked to Chad Pennington, an ex-NFL quarterback, and he said, "Yeah, I assume they would do those a lot because when he played under Pennington." Their teams use it in their offenses a whole lot. And we saw we saw a few similar things, a few plays like that, but not a whole lot. So I'd imagine Daboll is going to use it to get separation. We have 3 NFL caliber receivers that are going to start, but it's still good in really tight spaces near the goal line if you want to change things up. New England was very concept driven with a quarterback, so they understand the concepts. The Pennington said in an interview recently, and he said, I imagine that they're going to have quite a few plays like that to do those kind of things and to make those kind of routes and those kind of separations. So I would assume that that's going to happen for Alabama. So that's something cool to watch. Usually we see a lot of man covers that Alabama runs because they usually have really good defensive backs. But that's something to look out for the future. Be looking for rub plays. You heard it here first. Also a cool story, I know he recovered pretty well. Gene Stallings was hospitalized with a mild stroke. It really sucks because he was a really good coach at Alabama. A lot of fans love him. He was the one that had the last Alabama national championship before Saban. So, keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. He was asked for comment about it, and he said, the bottom line is I've just lost my peripheral vision to the right. You can be 3 inches from the right side of my face, and I can't see anything. Stallings told the interviewer, I don't think it can be reversed. I think I just have to learn to live with it now. So thoughts and prayers for him. Like I said, he's a great coach and a nice man, and we appreciate the things he did at Alabama. But as we know, with age, sometimes things happen. People have strokes, and health does go down. So just keep him and his family in your prayers. Okay, well, if it's not Colin Cowturd, it's Terry. I've got the best skullet in the NFL, Bradshawn. Now he's talking smack about Alabama. The story I saw, he called Nick Saban's new restructuring of his contract shameful. And, he went on to say some things when he's interviewed by Feinbaum. I think he was just looking for comments. Terry Bradshaw's always laughing about stuff. Unlike Colin Cowturd, Cowturd's always angry about stuff and legitimately hates Saban. I think Terry Bradshaw was just having a laugh. But, before you get calling people's salary shameful, you may want to go ahead and shave your head. Because I think the skullet you have going on here is a little shameful. It's 2017. Shave it, my friend. Shave it. That's what I had to do, baby. I had to shave it. So you may want to go ahead and take care of that, Terry. But anyway, He wanted to say that he went to do some verbal sparring with Phyllis from Mulga. I'm sure she ate him up from some of the sound bites I heard from her. He's making $12 million a year now. There's incentives built into his contract. Bradshaw said of Saban, the entire athletic budget at Louisiana Tech, the entire budget, that's shameful. That's shameful. Well, you know what, Perry Bradshaw? If somebody's willing to pay you money, somebody's willing to pay you as a person money, you're going to go where the money's at. If somebody's willing to pay you $15 million a year to be in the NFL Network, you would go. You wouldn't say, nah, pay me $4 and I'll come over there. I mean, it doesn't work like that. If somebody's willing to pay you for the money for the job that you do, good, bad, or indifferent, you take the money. That's life. That's capitalism, bro. That's how it goes. So, like I said, it's one of those things. I mean, he also wanted to say Saban doesn't even like people. If he had the personality of Steve Spurrier, then I would like him, Bradshaw said. Spurrier, now you're talking about a great coach. That's a great coach, Steve Spurrier, not Saban. Saban hates people. Man, he doesn't even like people. $12 million, think about it. I could use a little of that money to pay off my trailer house. Man, get out of here, Bradshaw. You don't live in some stupid trailer in the middle of nowhere in Louisiana. Sorry, bro. You probably have like a $3 million house. You've been on the NFL Network since I was like 8 years old as a kid. Not NFL Network, but you've been with football with Fox and CBS and all these people. Like, you've made tons and tons of money. Like, quit fooling everybody like you're the man of the people and you live in some trailer. Get the hell out of here. Like, honestly, I've lived in trailers. You don't live in trailers. I pretty much know what you make a year. You live in a massive, massive home. Like, I get it. Like, don't try to act like you're some man of the people and I'm some redneck from Louisiana. I'm like, get out of here, dude. Like, you're a millionaire, bro. And he also made another comment on the Feinbaum show where his SEC allegiance was. I think it was just another dig to get people fired up. I think it was a publicity thing. But he said, and I quote, allegiance lies before the joke. Even Feinbaum said it was a joke about Paul Bear Bryant. Bradshaw said, I'm a volunteer fan and they'll probably walk all over Alabama. Tennessee's back. Rocky Top will roll this year. Where is Rocky Top going to roll? They lost all their best talent. Even with their best talent, they couldn't even get to the SEC East title. They couldn't even win that. They suck. They couldn't even finish games. They would lose. They would blow a 24-point lead. Like, really? They're going to roll? Who the hell are they going to roll? Maybe Missouri? Like, maybe, if they're lucky, maybe Kentucky? They sure as hell ain't going to roll schools like Alabama. Sorry, bro. We could, probably not have our defense. We could probably have them miss every second tackle and still beat y'all. Like, get out of here, bro. He also wanted to say, Alabama recruited me. Bear Bryant was all over me. I told him, no. I didn't want to go to Alabama. I wanted to get an education. Well, obviously, bro, you didn't really get an education because you went to Louisiana Tech. Like, I mean, your athletic budget's $12 million a year. Did you get an education, bro? I mean, every school in the country back then was passing good players. Like, you can ask Auburn. They passed a bunch of players that couldn't even friggin' read. So I don't think you got that good of an education. And if you got that good of an education, why are you just a broadcaster talking about football, something you've done for 30-something years? If you got that good of an education, you would have left and been a lawyer or a doctor or something. Like, you didn't get that good of an education. I probably have the same education you have. And what am I doing? I'm in the military. But I digress. But anyway, another cool thing, one of Alabama's, Jeremy Pruitt had a baby this week, and they named it after two ex-Tide players. It's kind of cool. They combined two names of Ryan Anderson and Reuben Foster, and they're calling the kid Flynn Anderson Foster Pruitt. That's kind of a long name. It's a mouthful, but it's pretty cool. I think that's a pretty cool thing. But there was another really cool story about an Alabama walk-on. I'm sure most of y'all don't know his name, Levi Wallace. Really cool guy. I was aware he was a defensive back, but he only played in certain star packages, and he played on kickoff returns, special teams, things of that nature. But I thought it was really cool because I didn't know this stuff about him. He was a former walk-on from Tucson, Arizona, which is where I live. He's a redshirt cornerback. He's emerged as a top backup and a valuable special teams guy, as I mentioned earlier. He was offered and received interest from schools like Western New Mexico out of high school, and Las Vegas and some other colleges around here, but he didn't want to. His lifelong dream was to play at Alabama because his dad was a lifelong Alabama fan. His dad, Walter Wallace, was born in Tuscaloosa and lived there until he joined the Air Force when he was 18. Now I'm in the Air Force too, so hats off to that. His childhood home was close to Bryant-Denny. He worked the stadium concession stands during the Bryant era. Became a huge fan. it would have been huge for him not to become his son Levi, not to become an Alabama fan. And it was kind of cool because growing up, he said that in his bedroom he had a full like Alabama memorial, like a big wall. He had a big, huge poster of Bryant-Denny Stadium on one whole wall. And when they asked his mother about growing up, she said when Alabama games were on TV, we'd all have our positions on the couch. They all had their superstitions, what they had to do for Alabama to win games. I'm sure I'm about to do a video actually on that pretty soon, so keep out for that. And it was just really cool, man. His dad had a knee surgery back in 2012, and then 2013 he went to Alabama. But they noticed things were getting worse. They thought it was carpal tunnel. They thought his dad had a situation with rheumatoid arthritis, but it wasn't that. Turns out he had an aggressive form of ALS, and unfortunately, the disease progressed super, super fast, unlike it usually does in the average person when they have it. In 2014, he went home and saw his parents, and he mentioned that, like, wow, Dad's lost a lot of weight. And his dad died 2 months later, right before A-Day. His mom tried to, because his dad told his mom, like, don't tell him because A-Day is coming up. If I die before A-Day, don't say anything until after A-Day because I want him to play in the game because that's one of his dreams and lifelong fulfillments, things that he wants to do. And his mom didn't, but somebody found out and had it on social media, and he saw it and was really upset about it. But he did really well, went out there and got 2 pass breakups, 2 INTs in the game. He's also got glowing reviews from guys like Minka Fitzpatrick, who said Wallace is one of the best tacticians on the Alabama defense, which is great coming from him, an All-American, one of the best defensive backs in the country, and Fitzpatrick. Really cool. He stepped in a lot and played in the Auburn game when Marlon Humphrey aggravated a leg injury and did very, very well. He was also the 6th defensive back on a lot of the star packages and the game against Florida in the SEC Championship, which is really awesome. Like I said, he had several pass breakups and did really well playing against the first team. We're proud of him, and we hope he keeps progressing and doing things great. And hats off to you, man. Sorry about the loss of your dad. Okay, drunk-ass Pat Dye. Where do I start? He says, we don't need to let Alabama dictate what we do as Auburn. Well, you've been doing that since Saban got there. You fired a bunch of coaches. You changed your offense like a dozen times. You go after this player or that player to try to keep up with Alabama. You fire, I don't know how many coaching staffs y'all are still paying. You fired like 4 of them. I don't have the actual numbers on top of him, but I know it's a lot of people you fired. He was on a bunch of shows, and he was saying basically he wants Auburn and Missouri to go to the East. That's understandable. Like, I can even go with that. But basically, this is what he's saying. This is in his words, not mine. I'm fixing to make a statement that won't be a popular statement, I guarantee you, Dye said. I'd rather see Auburn in the East than us play Alabama every year. I know the Iron Bowl, and I'm not at least bit afraid of Auburn playing Alabama. Really? We can play them on a rotating basis like everybody else. Well, why? Like, why are you so worried to play them? Are you worried that we're going to knock you out every year or that you're not going to have a chance, but if you go to the East, you'll have a chance, so then you have to play us in the SEC Championship game? That doesn't make any sense. I think Pat Dye just showed up with he was probably 12 sheets to the wind when he showed up for the interviews. I'm sure that's what's going through his alcohol-diseased brain, I'm sure. He said he also quoted, if we do what we're supposed to do and Alabama does what they're supposed to do, we can play them one time a year away in Atlanta. Well, why are you so worried about playing us in Atlanta? Like, why are you so worried about playing us every year? Like, are you just worried we're going to knock your chances out? Are you worried you're not up to par with what Alabama is? Like, what is it, Dye? Like, make up your mind. Like, what are you so worried about? He goes on to say that Auburn recruits Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, so being the East is a natural fit. Yeah, exactly. And he said the Tigers don't recruit Texas, Louisiana, or Mississippi because you can't get recruits out of there. Like, hell, Saban takes half of them out of Louisiana. We take a few out of Texas and Mississippi. Like, well, no wonder, like, because you don't ever have success in there right now since Saban's been there. When Saban wasn't there, you did successfully recruit out of Louisiana. Like, I can see your recruiting stats. Like, you did. You did recruit out of Mississippi. But since Big Daddy Saban's been there, you haven't been doing it. So, like, why are you worried? What is it? Did the alcohol go to the brain, Dye? Like, why don't you want to play us every year? I don't understand. Like, we're not afraid to play you guys every year. Even when we lost 6 in a row, we weren't afraid to play you guys every year. It sounds like a sorry-ass excuse, Dye. You probably just need to go back to your ranch down there in Real Town or Lee County or wherever the hell you're from down there and just get some whiskey and sit on the back porch and don't worry about Auburn. You know, let them do them, and you just hang out and watch the flies fly around your head as you drink some beer, man. But anyway, Tide Talk with Webb, I'm out.